Will putting a red dot on your pistol make you a better shooter? Watch this video to find out. Hey guys, Carter here with Patriot Training Center. Today I want to talk to you about switching to a red dot, some of the pros and cons of that, and will it actually make you a better shooter? In short, I really do think it can make you a better shooter. Maybe not for some of the reasons you might think either. One of the big problems that I see with people answering these questions and for themselves and thinking, oh, if I just buy this piece of equipment, it will make me a better shooter, is it's not really fixing the actual problem. The actual problem is your hard skills. Being able to pull the trigger straight to the rear without moving the sights. Whatever sighting system you use is going to be the easiest way to get the hits on target and be able to become a good shooter. The only way you can do that is through repetition. Now, I do think that red dots can help you with those repetitions. Here's what I mean by that. So if you're practicing a lot, red dots are a great way to provide visual feedback on what your sights are doing. Sometimes it's really hard to see what your sights are doing when you're pulling the trigger. So whether that be in dry fire or whether that be in live fire, one of the goals is to keep those sights as still as possible while you're pulling the trigger straight to the rear. Now, to do that properly, you have to have a good grip and good trigger control. The thing that I love about a red dot is it gives you a lot of visual feedback on what your sights are doing when you're pulling the trigger straight back to the rear. So, for instance, if I'm pulling it, if I'm pulling my trigger and my gun is dipping down, I'm going to be able to see that, even if it's a slight movement, a lot better, more dramatic with a red dot than I do with your sights. That's not to say that you can't do it with your sights. There's plenty of really good shooters that can. I'm just saying it does make it easier and it's good visual feedback. Then what you would do once you isolate that problem, you see what you're doing, is you can change your grip pressures or how you're pulling the trigger in dry fire to fix that issue. So it kind of illuminates problems a little bit better and provides you with a little bit better visual feedback. The other nice thing and pro of a red dot is you only have to line up one thing on target. So traditional iron sights, you have to worry about your rear sight and front sight, making sure that those are in alignment and then overlay that onto your target. With a red dot, it's one thing. You put the dot on whatever you're aiming at and pull that trigger straight to the rear without moving your gun at all. And you should, if your gun is zeroed, hit where you're aiming at. Only one thing to worry about aligning is really nice. It doesn't matter where that dot is in the window. The dot is overlaid on your target and you do your job keeping everything still, you're gonna hit what you're aiming at. So that is definitely nice. You have to be careful about thinking that buying gear is going to solve these problems though. They can only help that. So the red dot is not gonna make you a better shooter, but it can help you become a better shooter, maybe a little bit quicker. So those are some very basic pros of why I like running red dots. Some cons are there's a little bit more of a learning curve to making sure that your sights show up every time when you build a good index. Just put red dots on their gun and then they can't find their dot. They'll put it out on target and they'll like move their head around or move their grip around or whatever, and then, oh, there it is, now I can break the shot. That's really slow. You definitely don't want to be doing that. So you need to build that index, and you do have to remember, if you are going to put a red dot on your gun, you need to practice having that dot show up every time. If you ever have to use your gun, you don't want your sights not to show up. So making sure that that happens every time for you. So it's not necessarily a con, you just need to make sure that you're practicing that, being prepared that that's gonna happen. So one of the things that I hear a lot of is, oh, iron sights are slower, or iron sights are faster at close distances, which is not true. As long as you build that good index through dry fire and working on making sure that this dot is showing up, these red dots are just as fast as iron sights. I can prove it to you over and over again. It's not that much faster. So those are some things that will help you with the red dot, and maybe some cons. The biggest thing is you're not gonna get better unless you're practicing. The best way to practice without spending a bunch of money on ammo and time at the range is through dry fire. Speaking of dry fire, we have a 30-day dry fire program in the description below. It's completely free. It'll help you get your skills where you need to be. We'll catch you guys in the next one.